Hi everyone, it's Tasleem here. I feel like I haven't been here for a little while. Maybe it's been over a week now. I will try to stay more consistent. So, this topic for today has been something that has been brewing in me for a long time, and I was really nervous to talk about it, but I did do the same talk earlier on a Facebook Live, so I think I'm ready. I think I'm okay. So, the topic is how dance revealed to me my own infidelity. Now, you might be thinking, Tasleem, we don't need to know this, but I promise you, if you stick with me, you might be surprised that it's not in the direction that you think it might go. And I'm hoping actually that it will be really helpful to some of you out there. So, I have mentioned many times how when I came to dance, I had these preconceived notions of what I was there for, what I wanted to get out of it, what I, my focus was that, I'm going to learn movements. I'm going to be more confident on the dance floor, and I'm going to learn how to look like the people out there that I tend to admire. But dance came back to me with so many other lessons that I would never have otherwise known I even needed to learn. And this was one of the biggest ones, I would have to say. So I came to dance very insecure, not just about dancing, but in terms of my body awareness, my movement. I have referred to myself in the past as the PE dropout because when I was in elementary school, but especially in high school, I tended to try to do everything I could to avoid PE class. I felt really clumsy and klutzy and scared to catch a ball and the slowest in races. Even out in the playground, I felt like I was more excited when the bell would ring for us to come in than for us to go outside, because in playing tag or catch or climbing on the monkey bars or whatever, I just felt like I don't understand, like, how come kids do this so easily? Obviously, I was a kid myself too, but um, so I shied away from a lot of physical activity, not understanding that the more that I separated myself from those activities, of course, the worse that I would get at it because I wasn't practicing. And I wasn't even thinking about how, you know, other kids were probably doing those things outside of school on a regular basis. So it was just more like seemingly natural to them. I just thought some people have it, some people don't. I'm obviously one of those people that don't. So I became even more studious than than I already was, like really hiding myself in books and in sitting at a desk and learning and reading, and everyone's like, oh, she's like the smart one, the intellectual one. And I hope that some of that was true, but I think there was an underlying feeling that actually that was my safe zone. That was where I felt like I could excel because I knew how to get better and study. And in terms of physical activity, I was like, I don't know how to improve this. And at that time, I never knew of people that could coach that or to, help kids, especially become stronger athletes. So, I was one of the kids that I felt like I was like the last to be picked for teams, and I didn't want to be in that atmosphere anymore. So, when I showed up for dance, it's been years since I had even attempted to do much physical activity in terms of I was not sporty. Um, so I was hoping that dance would change that for me because I actually love dance. And when I saw other people doing it, I was like, oh, I wish I could do that. And I kind of thought like I want to learn it, but I also secretly was like maybe it will erase those years where I felt clumsy and uncoordinated. And this will be like the thing that will bring me into like my sport. It will become my sport, and I'll be so coordinated and so graceful and so fluid because I can learn it from the very start. So in classes, I felt like that was okay. I, could see improvement, but when I went social dancing, I was like, oh no, it's happening again. It's like everyone out there looks so amazing and so confident, and they're so coordinated, and like they're doing things that I don't remember seeing that in class. Like, how did they go from classes to this? And then I would even go up to people and ask, like, do you have any recommendations for like where to learn, or how did you get to be such an amazing dancer? And I remember like a lot of girls would say things to me like, oh, I never took lessons, or I just picked it up naturally, or I took a few lessons and then just went social dancing and learned on my own. And I was like, a few lessons? I've already been taking way more than a few lessons, and I'm not even like in a space where I feel comfortable going out social dancing and feeling good about it. So I would still go and try to persevere, but I spent some time dancing with people that were like beginners as well. So it was hard to practice what I was learning with them. Or I would sit on the side and not be asked to dance. And so I would end up watching. And sometimes I would choose to watch as well. I was like fascinated, like, how do those people get to where they are? So I would watch, and I kind of came to the point where I was like, okay, I might one more time ask someone their opinion of where I could learn to dance and how they got to the level that they were at, because I saw this couple when on the dance floor, and they seemed so in sync, and they were having so much fun, and she was so gritty and like grounded in her movements, but also like graceful and fluid, and they just seemed to move really well together. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just have the courage to ask one more time. So I was going to approach her after their dance. And funny enough, she ended up going in a different direction and accepting another dance. And her partner ended up facing me and asking me if I wanted to dance. So I was kind of thrown. I was like, oh, okay. And I was a little nervous, not because of him necessarily, but because of watching their dance prior. And I thought, oh my God, he's going to be so bored, and I don't know how I'm going to follow, like, especially after watching what they were doing. But funny enough, I was dancing with him, and I was like, wow, this doesn't feel so intimidating, and it kind of felt fun. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing some movements that I've never even done before, and how is it possible that I know what I should be doing? And I realized that he was a really good lead, and he obviously knew what he was doing. So I thought, okay, I'll just ask him at the end of the dance. I asked him, like, do you have any recommendations of who to go to for dance lessons? Or and he said, actually, I'm a dance instructor. I'm a salsa instructor. And he gave me his number, and he said that he was teaching private lessons. So I thought, okay, I'd never taken a private lesson, was kind of scared about that because all the attention would be on me. And I wasn't even sure that I was at the level to take a private lesson. I assumed that that was more for really advanced dancers, but I decided to go for it. And I was actually, I felt like it was helping. Like I felt really good about it. He made it really comfortable. And the more, I took a few private lessons with him, and I felt like each time when I would go social dancing, I could see a difference in my dancing. Like even just the mere practice of being able to dance with someone at that higher level, where he could also assess what is missing in my dancing and fill those gaps in the lessons that we were having, it made such a big difference. And I was like, wow, I remember thinking back then, I wonder like if I had had this for PE class, like if it would have made a difference. But it was okay. I was where I was at, and I was having more fun and finding that I was going social dancing more. I still didn't have like full confidence to just go and ask anybody to dance, or when higher level dancers asked me to dance, I was still kind of hesitant, but I was trying more and just making more space for it. So eventually this guy and I, sometimes we would spend time doing a lesson, but then he would ask me to hang out afterwards. And over a bit of time, I realized that he had like a more of a personal romantic interest in me. And I was kind of surprised because, like I said, originally when I saw him, I was actually um, wanting to approach his partner because she was what kind of I imagined like, oh, I wish I could dance like her. But because we were spending more time together, I opened up the idea of us. I was open to the idea of us hanging out and being more romantically spending time. And it was fun. Like I was kind of surprised by it, but it seemed to be working okay, especially when we would spend time away from the dance scene. But then over a bit of time, I realized, wait a second, we're not doing the dance lessons anymore, and we're spending time on our own. And I still want to get better at dance. And then I would go out social dancing, and I would realize that I felt insecure now because him and I are spending more time personally, but I'm still not at the level of dancing that I wanted to be at. And he's dancing with all these amazing dancers. So I thought maybe he's like bored or not wanting to, like he would come back to me, but I kind of felt like I'm not necessarily the first choice. And I thought, oh no, this is kind of like happening all over again. The feeling that I had in PE class, like when I was younger. But because I was told by him, and I didn't realize this at the time, how manipulative it was, that, it's just the way the dance scene is. Like, I don't have to worry. He's just dancing with people, and I can go dance with people. I just made a lot of excuses to like go along with that idea of his. And there were things that he was doing, kind of dismissing me and almost making me feel like he knew me less closely than he actually did when we were out around other people. I just let that go because I thought, okay, maybe this is just the way the dance scene is, and maybe I'm just really insecure about dancing. So eventually it got to the point where I realized I was feeling really bad going out dancing now. And I thought, okay, this is ironic. So I started taking lessons with other people and, still maintaining contact and hanging out with this guy that I was quote unquote dating. But I really, when I look back on it, there were many, many moments, many, many situations where I didn't feel good around him. I didn't feel good the way that he was treating me. But he was very clever because he would make up for it, knowing that I wasn't feeling good. He would kind of like say, okay, we should hang out this day and go dancing. And conveniently, we'd go dancing somewhere where the other people that he knew weren't at. And eventually when I was taking classes with other people, he would get quite possessive over me. Like he would get upset and try to make it seem like those dance teachers were like really bad at what they're doing and they're not good guys. Or like if there was a guy, even if it was a girl, he would like make up stories about what they were like. And when I would dance with other people, he would come into the middle of the dance and be angry And I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Like, you're allowed to go and dance with whoever you want because you're the instructor, but I'm learning and I came here to dance and I met you because of dance and I'm not allowed to. So, like, how does that work? So, in a very bad way, I found out, which it should have been obvious to me, like, way before, that he was hanging out personally with a lot of people, a lot of girls, like his student, and the girl that I saw him first when I first met him, and the girl that I was going to approach to ask about dancing, actually, he had told me was his ex-girlfriend, but it turned out that she was never actually an ex, and she was kind of probably in the picture the whole time, and she didn't know. And I didn't know about the other student that he was like doing whatever with, and I found it in a really bad way, not through him, but in meeting the student that he was having a relationship or situationship with. And she told me who her boyfriend was. And then I was like, oh, what? Like, because, I thought that that was the guy that I was dating. So it was really bad. And for years, I think when I thought about him, I must have referred to him either out loud or in my mind as the guy who cheated on me. But it took me years to realize that actually I had been very disloyal to someone as well. And that someone was myself. I had, first of all, started dating a guy that I wasn't even attracted to. Like, I think it was just because he was in his element and confident where we were at, and that was like a place where I was really insecure, that I started like admiring not him but what he did because I wanted to do it. And secondly, all the red flags that I'm sure everybody around me could see, I ignored, because I was like, okay, well, he came from a family background where he was kind of like abused a bit or neglected, and I was trying to be like really emotionally like caring and compassionate to him, but like I was like, so I gave up my own compassion towards myself, my own loyalty to my own like needs for this other person who obviously didn't have a sense of any kind of loyalty. And we hadn't even discussed what we were, but I just made assumptions because he was angry when I would be around any other guys. So, I looked up infidelity in the dictionary, and it said, like, obviously the first idea we think of is being disloyal to a partner or a spouse, but it also said being disloyal to a moral commitment. And I realized that, like, I had a moral commitment to myself, which I completely broke. And, this was like an ongoing thing for a couple of years. It wasn't just a short span of time with him. And so I found it amazing that when I came to dance, and even when I was taking lessons with this guy, that I thought I was there to learn to dance, but dance actually was there to teach me that, there were ways that I was treating myself that were not kind to myself. And I was shocked by it because I came from a great family background. My mom was amazing to me. Like, how did I end up kind of neglecting myself and compromising my own needs? And it wasn't until I saw and met these other girls who were also beautiful and smart, but also very giving girls, that when I saw them compromising their beliefs, because now I could see it from the outside, I realized like I was doing the same thing, and we were all kind of caught in this giving mentality, being disloyal to ourselves. And I think Dance came to me and said, this is like the ultimate culmination of all the disloyalties that you've had to yourself over the years, not just those 2 years, but I could see looking back at how I had done that, not just with other romantic partners, but also in family dynamics where I didn't speak out about my needs, or I compromised my own judgment or decisions because I wanted to make someone else feel comfortable. And Dance was like, we're not having this anymore. I am going to teach you how you've been treating yourself, and it's going to stop. And so there's that quote that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And there is no way that I am saying that the teacher was this guy, because he actually turned out to be a horrible teacher in terms of I think teachers have integrity and like someone that you admire and look up to as a person as well. And he didn't have any of that, but the teacher actually was Dance. And it was like, you are ready. You are so ready, because I don't want you to take this any further in any other relationships. And I am so grateful for the lessons, this lesson in particular that Dance taught me. I didn't even know that I needed to learn it. And the most amazing thing is that I've been learning recently, more recently, about how Dance and these type of movement activities, which I didn't, like I was saying in the beginning, I didn't have any connection to my body. I didn't have muscle memory. I wasn't sporty or active. And I thought that was just like making me less desirable, like in school, or less confident in life. But it actually made me less connected to my intuition. And Dance, funny enough, what this guy was trying to teach me, this guy that I was dating, was Dance. And Dance actually is one of the best ways to reconnect you to your body if you were never there before. And so I started learning these little subtleties of how do I feel, and what is my intuition actually telling me. And I think it was the start of that for me as well, which I will share in another video. I think that's a whole topic for a whole other video. But I just wanted to share this with you because it's not so much about me. It's about how I'm sure that we all do this in different ways. We can be unfaithful to ourselves. We can do it because we think it's better for our loved ones. We can do it because we are too scared to stand up for what we want or need. We can do it because we've learned that it's more important to give than to receive. And none of that is true. And actually it does everybody disservice when you don't speak up about what is not making you feel good, or because then the person that you're interacting with doesn't know what you need or how to make you happy. And if that person doesn't want to satisfy that need or make you feel comfortable or make you feel safe, then it's also a great thing, because then you know that that's not the right person for you. And so I just really wanted to share this with you as a reminder to be loyal to yourself, that we owe it to ourselves and also to the people around us, because once you show how to be respectful to yourself, you also show other people how you want to be treated. And I think that's a huge lesson that can take a lifetime sometimes, but I am so glad that Dance came into my life to teach me it earlier so that I didn't suffer anymore. Thanks for listening. If you have any interesting insights or comments or stories of your own about this topic, I would love to hear from you. Thank you.